My wife lied. He just tried to kiss me after a girls' trip while hiding 142 texts. Then I revealed her affair in public and ended our relationship for good. Hey, never thought I would be posting here, but I need to get this off my chest, and my therapist says writing it down might help me process everything. Plus, maybe my story can help some other poor bastard avoid the same mistakes. Fair warning. This is going to be a long one, but I promise the payoff is worth it. Grab some popcorn because this bullshit show has everything: betrayal, lies, detective work, and sweet, sweet karma. Some background about me. So I, a 34-year-old male, have been married to Jessica, a 29-year-old female, for almost 7 years now. We have 2 amazing kids, Tyler, a 5-year-old male, and Emma, a 3-year-old female. I met Jess during my senior year of college when I was finishing my engineering degree, and she was in her sophomore year studying psychology, a degree she never actually used, which becomes relevant later. She was this bubbly, energetic girl who seemed to light up every room she entered. I fell hard and fast, proposed after 18 months, and we got married in a perfect little ceremony with 75 of our closest friends and family. I grew up in a pretty traditional middle-class household. My dad worked 60-plus hours a week as a construction manager, and my mom was an elementary school teacher. They busted their asses to put me and my brother through college with minimal debt. They taught me the value of hard work, keeping your promises, and the importance of family. Pretty old-fashioned values, I guess. Mom and Dad just celebrated their 40th anniversary last year. They are my role models for what marriage should be. My brother, Matt, is an attorney who specialized in family law after seeing a buddy get screwed over in a divorce. Little did I know how valuable that connection would become. After college, I landed a solid position as a network security specialist at a mid-sized tech company. I started at around $78,000 and worked my way up to about $115,000 as a team lead. Not by a yacht money, but enough that when Jess got pregnant with Tyler, a surprise pregnancy, but we were happy about it. We made the decision together that she would stay home with the kids while I supported the family financially. We agreed that once both kids were in school full-time, she would go back to work, or maybe finish her master's degree. That was the plan anyway. Our arrangement seemed to be working great. We bought a nice 4-bedroom house in a good school district, with a mortgage of $2,200 a month, almost halfway paid off thanks to an inheritance from my grandparents that covered a hefty down payment. We took decent family vacations once a year, usually to the beach, or to visit her parents in Arizona. We were not rich, but we were comfortable, had a decent emergency fund, contributing to retirement accounts, and even had college funds started for the kids. From the outside, we probably looked like the perfect American family. I worked remotely even before COVID made it mandatory. I coached Tyler's t-ball team on weekends, and Jess was active in the local mommy groups and parent-teacher association. I genuinely thought we were happy. The past year, though, Jess had been complaining more and more about feeling trapped in her stay-at-home mom role. She would make comments like, "I never get to be just Jessica anymore. I'm always mommy or your wife." And, "I miss having adult conversations that are not about kids or groceries." I tried to be supportive. I would watch the kids so she could have girls' nights with her local friends, encouraged her to take classes at the community center, even suggested she might want to look into part-time work now that Emma was in preschool 3 days a week. Looking back, I can see these complaints started right around when her old college roommate, Amber, moved to a city about 2 hours away, and they reconnected on social media. Suddenly, our life was not exciting enough compared to Amber's Instagram-perfect existence. So when Amber organized a 5-day trip to a cabin in Lake Tahoe with their old crew, about 6 women total, I actually encouraged Jess to go. I transferred $800 to her personal account for spending money and told her to have a blast. I even took 2 days off work to make it easier to handle the kids solo and arranged for my mom to come help for 1 day in the middle of the week. I wanted her to enjoy herself without worrying about us back home. "You deserve it, babe," I said like a complete idiot. "Go recharge and reconnect with your friends. I've got the kids covered. Maybe you can come back with some of that spark I first fell in love with." She seemed genuinely touched, hugged me tight, and promised to make it up to me when she got back. "You are the best husband ever," she said. "I am so lucky to have you." Then she kissed me goodbye while I helped load her suitcase into her friend Megan's car. If only I had known I was basically funding the nuclear bomb that would destroy our marriage. I wonder if she was already planning it then, or if the opportunity just presented itself. Either way, that is the last time I remember feeling like our marriage was solid. The 5 days she was gone were hectic but manageable. I juggled Zoom meetings with making dinosaur-shaped peanut butter and jellies and watching what felt like 47 consecutive episodes of Bluey with the kids. Tyler had a meltdown when I put the wrong color socks on him. And Emma decided that 3 in the morning was the perfect time to practice her singing for 3 nights in a row. Still, we survived. I actually enjoyed the one-on-one time with them, taking them to the park after work and having impromptu living room dance parties. I sent Jess cute pictures of the kids throughout the day. Tyler's art project from preschool, Emma eating spaghetti with her entire face covered in sauce, the fort we built in the living room. She would respond with shots of the girls hiking, doing spa treatments, or out at some club they found in town. Looking back, the photos were always group shots in public places during the day. Never any late-night pictures or anything that would give away who else might be there. She would call each night to say goodnight to the kids, but the calls were always brief because they were heading out or in the middle of something. One night, she did not call at all, claiming the next day that her phone had died and they got back to the cabin too late. When she finally came home Sunday evening, something was off. I cannot quite explain it, but anyone who has been through this will understand that gut feeling where the puzzle pieces do not quite fit together. There was a distance that was not there before. She barely hugged the kids, muttered something about being exhausted, and went straight upstairs to shower for almost 1 hour. The Jess I knew would have been scooping up the kids, asking about everything she missed and showing them pictures from her trip. Instead, when she came down, she spent most of the evening checking her phone and smiling at texts, giving minimal responses when Tyler tried to show her the Lego creation he had made while she was gone. First red flag that I completely missed. I rationalized it as trip fatigue, but deep down something felt wrong. She had also come home with a new necklace I had never seen before, a small silver pendant. When I asked about it, she got flustered and said, "Oh, this old thing. I've had it forever. Just found it when I was packing for the trip." I distinctly remembered going through her jewelry box to find Emma's baby bracelet 1 month earlier and had never seen it. Second red flag. That night after the kids were in bed, she came into my home office where I was catching up on work emails with a nervous look on her face. She was wearing her serious conversation face, the one she usually reserves for discussions about finances or the kids. "Mike, I need to tell you something that happened on the trip, and I want to be honest because our marriage is built on trust and communication. Remember this line? It becomes fucking hilarious in retrospect." She was fidgeting with her wedding ring as she spoke, another tell I should have noticed. According to her story, on their last night in Tahoe, the girls met some guys at a restaurant bar near their cabin. They were supposedly locals that Amber's cousin knew. One of them, who she called Ryan, supposedly 38 years old, worked in finance or something equally vague, had been chatting with her throughout the evening. He was just being friendly, and they talked about kids. He supposedly had a 10-year-old from his previous marriage. When she stepped outside to get some fresh air because the restaurant was hot, he followed her out and tried to kiss her. In her telling, she immediately pushed him away, told him she was married with kids, and that was that. She went back inside, told Amber what happened, and they left shortly after. Ryan supposedly apologized, said he had misread the signals, and they all moved on. She even threw in a detail about how creepy he was and how uncomfortable it made her feel. "I just wanted to be completely transparent with you," she said, looking all earnest and virtuous. "I did not do anything wrong, but I felt you should know. I would want you to tell me if something like that happened to you." She reached for my hand across the desk, eyes wide with sincerity. I actually thanked her for her honesty. Can you believe that bullshit? I even consoled her when she got teary-eyed talking about how violated she felt. We had what I thought was an honest, open conversation about boundaries and trust. I remember thinking what a strong foundation our marriage had that she would tell me about something so minor just to maintain complete transparency. I was such a goddamn clown, like full-on circus material, red nose and floppy shoes included. She was probably texting him that night about how easily I bought her story. I cannot believe I was so blind. But when you trust someone completely, you do not look for the lies. You do not expect the person who vowed to love and honor you to fabricate stories while looking you dead in the eyes. Life went back to normal for about 3 weeks, or so I thought. Looking back, there were signs I completely missed that now feel like flashing neon billboards. 1, she suddenly became super protective of her phone, always keeping it face down, taking it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. Before the trip, she would often leave it charging in the kitchen or toss it on the couch without a second thought. Now, it was attached to her hand like an extra appendage. 2, she added a new passcode to it. For years, we had known each other's phone passwords, not because we snooped, but for practical reasons, like if one of us was driving and needed the other to respond to a message. When I casually mentioned needing to use her phone to call mine because I could not find it, she got weirdly defensive and typed it in herself instead of telling me the code. 3, she started taking longer showers and paying more attention to her appearance on regular weekdays, not just when we were going out. New underwear appeared in the laundry, the kind she used to say was uncomfortable for everyday wear. She started wearing makeup to go to the grocery store, and suddenly needed to get her nails done every 2 weeks instead of her usual monthly appointment. 4, Our sex life, which had always been decent 2 to 3 times a week, suddenly dropped off. She was too tired or had headaches almost every night. The few times we did have sex, she seemed distant, almost like she was going through the motions, and there were positions she suddenly did not want to do anymore because they were uncomfortable despite being favorites for years. 5. She started mentioning how her friend Amber was going through some stuff and needed to talk on the phone a lot, which explained why she was constantly texting or stepping outside for calls. These calls often happened at specific times, like clockwork around 1:30 in the afternoon when she knew I would be on my lunch break Zoom meeting with my team. Her social media usage changed. She had always been a regular poster, sharing family photos and kid updates. After Tahoe, she practically stopped posting. But her screen time report, which popped up on our shared iPad one day, showed she was spending more time on social apps, just not posting. Lots of time in direct messages, I am guessing. 7. She stopped sharing funny stories about her day with the kids, something she used to do every evening at dinner. It was like she was mentally checked out of our family life, just going through the motions. When I brought up the password thing, she got immediately defensive. What? You do not trust me now? I have private conversations with my girlfriends about their problems. Megan is having marriage issues and does not want anyone to know. Do you need to monitor everything I do? I am not some teenager you need to supervise. She turned it around so fast I got conversational whiplash. It made me feel like the asshole for even asking. Classic Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. I did not know that term then, but I sure as hell do now. I have become fluent in cheater speak through this whole ordeal. I tried to let it go, told myself I was being paranoid, that the kiss incident had just made me insecure. I even felt guilty for suspecting her of anything, like I was the one betraying her trust. That is how skillfully she manipulated the situation. A masterclass in gaslighting from Professor Jessica. Then last Thursday, after we put the kids to bed, she sat me down on the couch with a serious expression that instantly made my stomach drop. You know that feeling when you just know you are about to hear something that will change everything? That cold weight settling in your gut? Yeah, that one. There is something else that happened in Tahoe that I need to tell you about. She started fidgeting with her wedding ring. Amber's cousin Melissa told her husband about it, and he works at that tech conference you are speaking at next month. I do not want you hearing it from him and getting the wrong idea. My heart was pounding as she continued, each word feeling like another nail in our marriage's coffin. According to this new version of events, after Ryan tried to kiss her, there was a food run incident I should know about. Apparently the whole group was hungry around midnight and they wanted pizza from this place that was about 45 minutes away. Important detail for later. Ryan offered to drive since he was the most sober of the guys they had met. And Jess volunteered to go with him because, and I quote, I did not want him to get lost in an unfamiliar area. She claimed that during the drive, Ryan spent the whole time apologizing profusely for trying to kiss her earlier. He opened up about his recent divorce, how lonely he was feeling, and how he had not meant to disrespect her marriage. The pizza place, supposedly, had a long wait, so they ended up being gone for about 2 hours total. According to Jess, absolutely nothing happened beyond this heartfelt conversation where she basically counseled him about his failing marriage and personal problems. She even threw in details about the pizza toppings they ordered and how they talked about his 10-year-old son's baseball team. I just thought you should hear it from me, she said, reaching for my hand with what I now recognized was practiced sincerity. I know it sounds bad that I went off alone with him after what happened, but I felt sorry for him. He was going through a hard time, and honestly, I felt safe because he was so apologetic about the kiss. Sometimes people just need someone to talk to, you know. She even added, I would have told you sooner, but I was afraid you would overreact, and this was such a small, innocent thing. But now that Melissa's husband might mention it, I wanted to make sure you heard my side first. My bullshit detector, which had apparently been on mute for our entire relationship, was suddenly screaming at full volume. The story had too many convenient elements, too many specific details that felt rehearsed, and most importantly, it contradicted her original story about when the kiss happened. This was not adding up at all, and for the first time, I began to seriously question what else she might be lying about. Here is the thing about being a network security specialist. I know how to find information, and I understand how electronic footprints work. It is literally my job to think about how systems can be compromised and what evidence gets left behind. First, I pulled up the location she told me about on Google Maps. The 45-minute pizza place was actually 12 minutes from their cabin. The only way it would take 45 minutes is if they were crawling at 15 miles an hour or took a completely different route. I checked her credit card statement for that night. No pizza charge at all, but there was a $55 purchase at a convenience store about 30 minutes in the opposite direction of the pizza place at 1:14 in the morning. Their cabin was in a valley with basically one main road in and out, so The "we got lost" excuse made zero sense to someone who had looked at a map for more than 30 seconds. Then I noticed something on our phone bill. She'd been texting a new number with a Tahoe area code multiple times every day since the trip, sometimes 30+ messages a day. The texts always happened when I was busy with the kids or working, and there were a few calls during her grocery trips that had been taking suspiciously longer than usual. I did not confront her immediately. Instead, I started paying closer attention to her behavior. She would take her phone to the bathroom during showers, and I noticed she would delete message threads regularly. I could tell because I would glimpse a conversation on her screen when she was on the couch, but when she left her phone to get water or something, that conversation would be gone when I casually glanced at her notifications. When I finally asked her why her story had so many inconsistencies, the pizza place distance, the missing pizza charge, the getting lost in an area with one main road, she went completely nuclear. "So you are calling me a liar now?" she practically screamed. "After everything I do for this family, I told you what happened out of respect and honesty, and this is how you thank me, by investigating me like I am some kind of criminal." Then she pulled the classic manipulation tactic. "I am so hurt that you do not trust me. You know what? I am sleeping in the guest room tonight. I cannot even look at you right now." As if she was the victim in this situation. But her extreme reaction told me everything I needed to know. Innocent people do not explode when asked simple questions that have straightforward answers. They do not immediately attack the person asking. They do not make themselves the victim. That night, while she was sleeping in the guest room, actually texting nonstop, I could see the light under the door. I decided it was time to dig deeper. The next day, I did something I never thought I would do in my marriage. I started gathering intelligence. I know how this sounds, but when you suspect your entire life is based on a lie, you need facts. I messaged Derek, a 31-year-old male, Amber's husband, using a technique we call pre-texting in the security world. Basically, I pretended I already knew everything and just wanted to confirm some details. "Hey man, Jess finally told me about everything that happened with Ryan and Tahoe. I'm just trying to piece together the timeline. What exactly did Amber tell you about that night?" Poor dude had no idea he was about to become my primary intelligence source. His response was like a gut punch. "Look, dude, I did not want to get involved in this bullshit. But since Jess came clean, Amber said your wife and Ryan were flirting hardcore from day 2 of the trip. Everyone noticed it. The attempted kiss was not just him making a move. They were full-on making out on the deck until Melissa walked outside and caught them. The pizza run was total bullshit. They took off for hours, came back with messed up clothes and no food. Amber tried to call Jess multiple times, but she had her phone off." Derek dropped more bombs. "Ryan has been to their cabin before. He is Amber's stepbrother who lives about 1 hour away. He knows the area perfectly. They definitely did not get lost." The final kicker. "Dude, I hate to tell you this, but Amber said Jess was bragging the next morning about how Ryan was so much more passionate than you and showing off a hickey on her inner thigh. She made the girls promise not to tell anyone and said something about how what happens in Tahoe stays in Tahoe and they all needed to stick to the same story if it ever came up." I screenshot everything, then accessed our phone records online. Jess and Ryan had exchanged 142 texts and 8 calls in the 3 weeks since the trip, including a 47-minute call while I was giving the kids their bath one night. She had told me she was helping her mom with a computer problem during that time. I also found her recently deleted photos in our shared cloud backup. Nothing explicit, but several selfies that were definitely not meant for me, with poses and outfits I had not seen before. Armed with evidence, I waited until the kids were at my parents' house for their weekly grandparents' sleepover and confronted her. I did not reveal all my sources at once. I wanted to see how much she would lie. "I know you are still talking to Ryan," I started. "Want to tell me what is really going on?" She immediately went pale, then cycled through the typical cheater's playbook. 1. Deny, "I do not know what you are talking about." 2. When shown the phone records, "He is just a friend who needed someone to talk to about his divorce." 3. When confronted with Derek's information, "Derek is lying. He has always had a thing for me and is trying to cause problems." 4. When that did not work, "Okay, we kissed, but that is all that happened." 5. When pressed further, "Fine, we fooled around in his car but did not have sex. I was feeling unappreciated and he was saying all the right things." 6. When shown the timeline inconsistencies, "Okay, we had sex, but it was only once and it meant nothing. It was a mistake." Then came the blame shifting. "You made me do this by always working and never making me feel special anymore." 8. And finally, the children card. "Are you really going to throw away our family over one mistake? What about Tyler and Emma?" The most entitled part, she actually said, "You should be grateful I am telling you now instead of keeping it a secret forever. At least I'm being honest with you now." When I asked about the ongoing texts and calls, she claimed they were just closure conversations and she was helping him process his divorce since I have a psychology degree. Right. I slept in the guest room that night, which pissed her off even more. She actually had the audacity to come in around midnight, try to initiate sex, and when I refused, she started crying and saying, "So, you are just going to abandon our marriage over one mistake? One mistake that happened to include lying to my face for weeks?" I pointed out, "It is not like I am still sleeping with him," she yelled. That is when I knew she was still sleeping with him. I have read enough Reddit stories to know that going nuclear immediately often backfires, especially when kids are involved. So I played it smart, did not blow up, did not make scenes, did not tip my hand about my plans. I told Jess I needed time to process everything, and suggested she visit her parents for the weekend with the kids so we could both cool down. "Maybe some space will help us figure out where to go from here," I said, making it seem like reconciliation was on the table. She jumped at the chance, probably thinking it would make her look like the reasonable one, while also giving her freedom to talk to Ryan without me watching. The moment they left Friday afternoon, I executed my plan. 1. I called my brother Matt, a 36-year-old male who works as a divorce attorney in a neighboring state, and got his recommendation for the most ruthless family lawyer in our county. 2. I got an emergency consult that same day and paid the $3,500 retainer immediately. The lawyer, a terrifying woman named Barbara, who looked like she ate cheating spouses for breakfast, walked me through everything I needed to do. 3. I transferred exactly half of our savings, $43,500, to a new personal account at a different bank. Not a penny more. I did not want to look like I was hiding assets. 4. I changed all my passwords. Email, social media, banking, everything. And set up two-factor authentication on all accounts. 5. I documented all evidence of her affair, including the text with Derek, phone records, the deleted photos, credit card statements, and a detailed timeline of events and inconsistencies in her story. 6. I got a sexually transmitted disease test, which came back clean, thankfully. 7. I called my parents and brother, told them everything, and secured their support, including potential emergency childcare and a loan if needed. 8. Finally, I discreetly installed legal security cameras in our common areas, perfectly legal in our state since there is no expectation of privacy in living rooms, kitchens, etc. When Jess returned Sunday night with the kids, I was calm, collected, and told her I wanted to try to work things out. "Our family is worth fighting for," I said, watching her visibly relax. She obviously expected either groveling or rage, not this measured response. For the next 2 weeks, I played the role of processing husband while secretly preparing everything. I suggested couples counseling, which she eagerly agreed to, thinking it meant I was forgiving her. I even went to the first session and talked about my trust issues and how I wanted to rebuild our foundation. Meanwhile, I was documenting every suspicious behavior, every time she took her phone to the bathroom, every quick run to the store that took 90 minutes, every night she stayed up texting after I went to bed. I acted just hurt enough to be believable, but not so upset that she would worry about what I was planning. The smoking gun came when she left her laptop open while taking a shower one morning. There it was, a full email thread with Ryan planning their next hookup at a hotel near his business trip to our city the following week. "Cannot wait to finish what we started in Tahoe," and explicit details about what they do to each other. She had even sent him a lingerie picture taken in our master bathroom while I was at work. Game over. Time to stop playing defense and go nuclear. First move, I sent screenshots of their hotel plans to Ryan's boss. I found him on LinkedIn. Turns out the business trip was actually a company retreat where spouses were invited. I helpfully informed his boss that Ryan was planning to conduct an extramarital affair on company time using company resources. I also mentioned that as a cybersecurity professional, I was concerned about potential data security issues if Ryan was using company devices for his affair. Ryan was placed on administrative leave pending an ethics investigation. Next, I waited until Jess was at her weekly yoga class. Spoiler, she was on the phone with Ryan damage controlling. I had already packed up most of her personal items, clothes, jewelry, toiletries, etc., boxed and put them in storage. I left one suitcase with essential clothes by the door and had a locksmith change all the locks on the house. Then I sent a group message to her parents, siblings, our mutual friends, and even a few of the moms from her playgroup, with screenshots of her explicit emails, hotel plans, and a concise timeline of her affair. The message read, "I wanted you all to understand why Jessica will no longer be living in our home. After her trip to Tahoe, she began an affair with a man named Ryan, which she has continued for weeks while lying to my face. The children will remain with me in the family home until custody is legally determined. I am sending this not to hurt Jessica, but because I know she will create a different narrative. and I want the truth to be known. The cherry on top, I sent the same evidence package to our marriage counselor with a note that said, "I found my own form of therapy. Our next session is canceled." When Jess returned and could not get in, she called me screaming. I calmly stepped onto the porch and handed her 3 things: her suitcase, divorce papers my brother had rushed through, and a printed photo of her and Ryan from his public Instagram with "worth it" written on it. Your parents know, your friends know, your counselor knows, your boyfriend's boss knows. You have 30 minutes to decide if you are signing these papers with the terms as is, or if you want to see what a judge thinks about a mother who abandons her kids for hotel hookups. She collapsed on our porch, crying, creating a scene for the neighbors. Classic Jess, always playing the victim. I just went back inside and waited. 10 minutes later, she texted that she would sign the papers if I would just talk to her. I told her I would meet her at my lawyer's office tomorrow at 9 in the morning. The aftermath was beautiful chaos. Ryan ghosted her once his job was threatened. Apparently, his company had strict morality clauses in their contracts, and he was on thin ice already for other issues. He texted her that she was too much drama and blocked her number. Her parents, who are conservative Catholics, called her behavior disgraceful and refused to let her stay with them unless she accepted responsibility and begged for forgiveness. They actually called me to apologize for their daughter's behavior. Friends who initially supported her backed away when they saw the explicit emails and timeline of lies. The mom group completely excommunicated her after I forwarded an email where she had called them boring suburban baby factories while bragging to Ryan about her exciting affair. With nowhere to go, no money, I had frozen our joint accounts per my lawyer's advice, and her affair partner vanished. Jess did what entitled people do. She tried to play the mental health card. Suddenly, she was depressed and not thinking clearly and needed me to support her through this difficult time. I offered one path: sign the divorce papers with my terms. Me keeping the house, primary custody with her getting every other weekend and Wednesday dinners, minimal spousal support for just 12 months, her taking the credit card debt she had racked up buying new lingerie and hotel rooms, or fight me in court where I would make sure every detail of her affair became public record in our small community. You wanted excitement and freedom, I told her. Congratulations, you have got it. She signed, sobbing the whole time. She later tried to claim coercion, but my brother had made sure everything was ironclad and done in front of witnesses, including her getting clear answers to questions from my lawyer about whether she understood what she was signing. Update: it has been 8 months since D-Day. Here is where things stand now. I have got the kids 5 days a week and they are doing amazingly well. Kids are resilient when they have stability and one parent who puts them first. We have family therapy every other week just to make sure they are processing everything in a healthy way. Jess lives in a crappy 1-bedroom apartment in the affordable part of town and works as an office assistant at a dental practice making $16 an hour. Turns out a psychology degree with 0 work experience does not open many doors at 29 years old. Ryan moved to Seattle after getting fired. Yes, fired. Turns out this was not his first inappropriate workplace relationship and has completely blocked Jess on everything. According to mutual friends, he is already dating someone new and tells people Jess was just a vacation fling. Jess's parents eventually let her back into their lives, but they call me to check on the kids and often schedule separate visits when it is not her custody time. They have made it clear they think she made the biggest mistake of her life. She started bringing random men around during her weekends with the kids, which I have documented meticulously for our next court date. Tyler told me one of them sleeps in mommy's bed and does not wear pajamas, which my lawyer says is gold for our case to further reduce her custody. Meanwhile, I got promoted to director of security, earning $145,000 plus bonuses. I started hitting the gym regularly, am down 35 pounds, and have been seeing a pediatric nurse, a 32-year-old female, who my sister introduced me to. We are taking it very slow and she has not met the kids yet, but she is amazing, smart, kind, and most importantly, honest. I sold Jess's expensive engagement ring, which she had left behind, and used the money to take the kids to Disney World. I posted tons of happy family photos that I know she saw, because she called crying about how I was trying to hurt her by showing her what she had lost. The best part, last week, Jess called me in tears because her car was repossessed. She had stopped making payments and she needed a loan to get it back, or she would lose her job because she could not get to work. She said she would pay me back from her tax return next year. I told her I would think about it, then sent her a Venmo for $8.56 with the note, "For a pizza, I heard you like those." 2 days ago, she showed up at my door looking absolutely desperate. Her landlord was evicting her for non-payment. She'd been fired for consistently being late, had no car, and her current boyfriend had stolen her laptop and what little jewelry she had left. "I have nowhere to go," she sobbed. "I have lost everything." "Sounds like a you problem," I replied and closed the door. Harsh maybe, but after what she put me and our kids through, I've learned that some people never change. They just expect the world to continue cushioning them from the consequences of their own choices. Update. Thanks for all the awards and supportive messages since so many asked. Yes, Tyler and Emma are doing great. We have a new puppy named Rex that they adore. And our house is actually peaceful now without the constant tension of Jess's lies and manipulation. And no, I do not feel bad about the revenge. She made dozens of conscious choices to destroy our family. I just made sure she could not rewrite history afterward. Edit, for those asking if I worry that I was too harsh on her. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. She could have stopped at any point before kissing Ryan, before sleeping with him, before continuing the affair for weeks, before planning another hookup, before lying repeatedly to my face. She had countless opportunities to make a different choice. She did not. Edit 2. A lot of people are direct messaging me asking for advice on their situations. I am not an expert, but my top tips: 1. Trust actions, not words. 2. Get legal advice before confronting them. 3. Secure your finances. 4. Document everything. 5. Do not make empty threats. If you say there will be consequences, follow through. Final update: it has now been almost 1 year since D-Day. Jess is living with her parents in Arizona. The nurse, let us call her Claire, and I are officially dating, and she met the kids last month. They adore her because she actually pays attention to them and does not spend the whole time on her phone like Jess did. My lawyer says we will easily get Jess's custody reduced to supervised visits, only based on the documentation of the random men and unstable living situation. Sometimes karma works exactly as it.